In the opulent haze of the Velvet Orchid, a five-star haven nestled in the heart of Chicago's Gold Coast, Victor Langford sipped his aged Scotch neat. At 58, Victor was the unchallenged sovereign of Langford Industries, a conglomerate that spanned real estate empires and biotech breakthroughs, his net worth a whispered legend eclipsing 9 figures. His silver-streak hair was impeccably groomed, his bespoke suit a second skin of charcoal silk, and his laugh, a rare, resonant timbre, commanded boardrooms like symphonies. Yet, beneath the veneer of invincibility, Victor nursed a solitude as vast as his fortune. Divorced twice, estranged from his only daughter, Alara, over a chasm of neglected birthdays and broken promises, he dined alone most nights, convinced that power was the ultimate companion. The Velvet Orchid was his ritual sanctuary, crystal decanters glinting like captured stars, velvet banquets cradling the elite, and a jazz quartet weaving melancholy into the air. Tonight, the room hummed with the city's pulse, financiers sealing deals over caviar, socialites trading secrets like currency. Victor's table overlooked the glittering lakefront, where autumn winds whispered secrets to the waves. He scrolled through emails on his phone, oblivious to the subtle shift in the atmosphere, a flicker of unease among the staff, hurried glances toward the entrance. Enter Serafina Voss, the new waitress. At 29, she was a vision of quiet defiance, cascading auburn waves pinned with a single pearl comb, hazel eyes that held the storm-tossed depth of forgotten seas, and a smile that bloomed like wild roses against the establishment's polished thorns. Serafina hadn't been born to silver spoons. Orphaned young in a Rust Belt town, she'd clawed her way through night classes and double shifts, her dreams of becoming an investigative journalist deferred by the grind. This job at the Velvet Orchid was a stepping stone, a chance to eavesdrop on the powerful, to gather fragments for stories that could one day shatter silences. But intuition, honed by years of reading shadows in strangers' eyes, had always been her sharpest tool. She approached Victor's table with a tray balanced like a dancer's poise, her black uniform whispering against the marble floors. "Mr. Langford," she said softly, setting down his refill with hands steady as ancient oaks. "Another round." He glanced up, his steel blue eyes appraising her briefly before returning to his screen. "Yes, and the check. Early meeting tomorrow." His voice was velvet over gravel, polite but distant, the tone of a man who viewed service as scenery. Serafina lingered a fraction too long, her gaze tracing the lines etched by decades of conquests. Something in the room's undercurrent prickled her skin, the way the maître d' kept checking his watch, the cluster of sharp-suited men at the bar whose whispers carried the acrid tang of malice. She'd overheard snippets earlier. "Langford's here, perfect timing, the papers are drawn." Her reporter's instinct flared. Victor Langford wasn't just wealthy, he was a target, a titan ripe for toppling. Whispers of a hostile takeover had slithered through the kitchen grapevine. Rival firm, Vanguard Capital, poised to strike with leak scandals and falsified audits. But more than business, it smelled of personal vendetta, the kind that festered from old betrayals. As she turned to leave, a shadow detached from the bar. Harlan Crow, Vanguard's venomous CEO, a weasel-faced man whose fortune was built on ruins. He slid into the seat opposite Victor uninvited, his grin a serpent's coil. "Victor, old friend. Fancy meeting you here. Care to discuss that little merger?" Victor's jaw tightened, but he leaned back, feigning nonchalance. "Harlan, this isn't the place." Serafina paused in the alcove, heart hammering. She knew the playbook. Crow had ruined her mentor years ago, a journalist who'd exposed his frauds. Now, history echoed. Through the service door's crack, she saw Crow slide a folder across the table, damning forgeries, poised to unleash at midnight when markets stirred. Victor's empire teetered on this precipice, seconds from free fall. Pulse thundering, Serafina made her choice. She glided back, her voice a silken thread in the din. "Sir," she murmured, leaning close enough for only Victor to hear, her breath warm against his ear. "You need to leave. Now. Trust me, before it's too late." Victor's eyes snapped to hers, surprise fracturing his composure. "What? Who are you?" "Please," she urged, her hazel depths pleading like a siren's call to salvation. "They're coming for you. The folder. It's poison. Go. I'll stall." For a heartbeat, the world suspended. Victor, who trusted no one, not lawyers with ironclad clauses, not confidants with NDAs, saw in her gaze a mirror of his own buried vulnerability. Something raw, unscripted. He rose abruptly, chair scraping like a verdict. "Charge it to my account," he said aloud to the room. Then, under his breath to her, "Why?" "Some stories need saving," she whispered, pressing a napkin into his hand, scrawled with a number, her name, a plea. "Call me." Truth waits. As Victor melted into the night, the storm broke. Crow lunged for the folder, but Serafina was faster. With a feigned trip, she accidentally appended a tray of champagne flutes onto the documents, ink bleeding into oblivion like secrets drowned. Chaos erupted. Gasps, shards of crystal, Crow's fury a thunderclap. "You clumsy bitch," he snarled, but security swarmed, the Metre D ushering him out amid protests. By dawn, Victor's private jet sliced through storm clouds. He'd mobilized his team overnight, the napkin burning in his pocket like a talisman. The forgeries? Traced to Crow, unraveling Vanguard's web in a cascade of lawsuits and leaks, courtesy of an anonymous tip from a certain Waitress's contacts. Victor didn't lose everything. He gained clarity. Empires, he realized, were fragile without anchors. Weeks later, under a canopy of cherry blossoms in Grant Park, Victor found Serafina at a quaint café, her notebook open to half-formed headlines. "You saved more than my fortune," he said, sliding into the seat across from her, his usual armor shed for a simple sweater. "You saved me from becoming the monster I almost was." She looked up, her smile a quiet revolution. "We all lose pieces, Victor. The real loss is forgetting why we fight." He reached for her hand, tentative as a first rain. "Alara, my daughter, she's coming home next month. For the first time in years. Because of you, I called her. Apologized. Properly." Serafina's eyes softened, tears like dew on petals. That's the story worth telling. Their worlds intertwined from there, not in grand gestures, but in stolen coffees and late-night confessions. Victor funded her journalism fellowship, but more profoundly, he learned to listen, to Alara's dreams of painting in Paris, to Serafina's tales of resilient roots. He sold off the conglomerate shadows, redirecting billions to community gardens and youth scholarships, blossoms from barren soil. One evening, as they walked the lakefront where it had all begun, Victor stopped, pulling her close. "I lost everything that night," he murmured, wind tousling his silver hair. "The illusion of control. And gained you." Serafina leaned into him, her laughter a melody against the waves. "Welcome to the real empire, Victor Langford. Where vulnerability is the crown." In the quiet alchemy of second chances, Victor discovered that true wealth wasn't hoarded in vaults, but sown in souls, fragile, fierce, and forever blooming. And in Serafina's warning, whispered seconds before ruin, he found not just salvation, but the heartbeat of redemption. Thank you for watching this story till the end. Sparkles. If it touched your heart, please support us. Thumbs up sign, give it a like. Speech balloon, share your thoughts in the comments. Bell, subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications. Your support helps us create more stories that inspire and make you believe in miracles. Your participation means a lot to us.